mental organism designed only for killing, aka modok in the comics, or now in the movies, mechanized organism designed only for killing, which is fine. It was a letdown. I like him with the, which is funny because I wanted to see his face, but I didn't like the way they did it. We're talking Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, full spoiler discussion. Let's get into it. Jumping straight into modok. This is not going to be in any specific order, but I'm just going to get him out of the way. I mean, it's okay. It stands for modok, obviously. I was definitely thinking it's a missed opportunity where it should have been something along the lines of method of detecting other kangs, method of deterring other kangs, method of detaining other kangs, anything along those lines to play and push forward, as in we knew the only people who can isolate him, imprison him, would be other kangs, aka the Council of Kangs, which they confirm in the movie. We'll get into the Council of Kangs shortly. I figured that would have been smart of them to play off of modok and use him like that way versus this annoying talking just wouldn't shut up. Aside from the in your face nonstop like quips and jokes and stuff that they was like nonstop. The design, they just like stretched his face out, where I thought it would have been cool if they made him look a little bit more sickly, you know, like deepen his eyes and hard cheekbones and kind of go for that and make him more of a intimidating weapon versus a bumbling idiot. It is what it is. Jonathan Majors in this movie. Yes, if you see all my non-spoiler review, I was not a fan of how emotionally driven his character is in this movie. That being said, I absolutely loved him in this movie. Not a fan of that they went super emotional with this version of Kang, but I don't care because he killed it. He delivered it extremely well. He was terrifying when he needed to be terrifying. His suit, his armor, his technology, amazing. The way they put it on screen made it feel magical, which it's not by any means, but he is so advanced. The movement of his fingers, obviously they would glow a little bit right here and whatnot, but the movement of his fingers was enough to control that person in the cell or to hurt them, torture, whatever. Little things like that are just amazing. When he jumps down and he's blasting, he's walking on his pads, they made him appear like Kang the Conqueror, which was great. He was creepy, he was intense. Bro, when he was beating the shenanigans out of Ant-Man, oh, don't get me wrong, I was like, man, this sucks. I love Scott. He's gonna die. And it made sense for the way they were pushing the story. It was very much everything was for his family. This is a family man. He was doing this for his daughter, for his wife. They're married, right? I can't remember if he's married to Hope or not, but I'm going with they're married. His stepdad, his stepmom, or mother-in-law, father-in-law. I messed that up. The idea that they were all fighting for each other to get back home, blah, blah, blah. I like that subtly, and the story is there. It's just not delivered well. Kang should have won. Let's be honest. Ant-Man's a great character. Any version of Ant-Man is not gonna go anywhere near toe-to-toe with Kang. Not a proper Kang. So that you had this build-up and you made him look creepy and intense and almost unstoppable. Yes, Kang is a man in a suit. You take away his suit, you take away his powers. However, he is highly, extremely intelligent without question. He's very much a tactician. He's a fighter. So yes, you take away his suit, he can still hold his own. He's still arguably the smartest one in the room, being a Richards descendant. So Council of Kangs means we're getting the Council of Reeds. Although it would have been sad, it would have been a crazy, wild, amazingly beautiful tragedy for him to sacrifice himself to save his family and to defeat this Kang. That would have made sense. It would have been intense. It would have been wild. Legit consequences to actions, anything. So that means if someone as important and big as this character, Ant-Man, can die, and this is not even Kang the Conqueror yet, this is just a conqueror, who else can suffer? Who else can really die? Like, that means the consequences in these movies and these stakes were going to feel more real. Even when he wins and Hope comes back and helps him and the portal gets destroyed, within moments, within seconds, the portal opens and they go home. There was no consequences whatsoever. That also deflated that like climactic, fun, crazy, wild scene and overall the story. A big nitpick for me, like I said, we didn't get Michael Pena back to do his storytelling capabilities, and what a waste. In the beginning when Paul Rudd is doing his whole monologue while he's walking down the street, why not use Michael Pena for that? And then at the end again. Also, at the very least, why isn't his best friend and the other homies not at his daughter's fake birthday dinner? I was like, you guys really just, they don't acknowledge him. They don't exist no more. Like, what's going on here? That's literally his best friend. That's his day one. That's his right hand. And they were overly involved with the family to an extremely high level and intricacy between the first two movies. So the fact that they just disappear and no longer exist, there's not even a mention of them, is really upsetting. Michelle Pfeiffer, she killed it. Yeah, she did a great job. Michael Douglas, like everyone, Evangeline, like everyone did fine. There was no issues there. There's nothing super memorable about this movie. Yes, let's jump to the end credit scene, the Council of Kangs. You see Ramtut, which design I'm not a fan of because he looked way too robotic. Jonathan Major is a big, beautiful son of a bitch, and he is built different. All right, let's take advantage of that, because when he was beating the shenanigans out of Ant-Man, and you just saw like the one, like he was missing a sleeve, and all you saw was like muscle. I was like, damn, Kang is buff as shit. When you get to the Council of Kangs, you see a proper immortus. So apparently, homeboy from Loki, were we all wrong? Because I thought at one point we was referenced that he was a version of immortus, because he even described himself as the oldest living one. That's immortus. However, here we get a proper immortus. I'm kind of okay with having two versions of immortus, so it's not a big deal. But we get and you get Ramtut, which is his pharaoh version when he traveled back, and and then that leads into like apocalypse and mutants and stuff. So that can be interesting. That also leads into Fantastic Four. Let me slow down. Then you get the super cybernetic robotic one, who's a throwaway. He doesn't exist in the comics to my knowledge at all. He can maybe be some subtle reference to something, but there's no clear cut, that's this character. And then you see a bunch of them, which looked beautiful. That shot of just seeing all the different Kangs showing up, and then just in the Coliseum just screaming, yelling, and chanting. And it felt like it jumped off the page. That was dope. Back to Ramtut. I wish they would have just had him be there. Like, instead of having this cybernetic almost entire body, like his arms, his legs and stuff, have Jonathan Majors dressed like a pharaoh stand there and be a beautiful son of a bitch. We should have rocked that. It would have been less CG work, and it was unnecessary work because he's built different and he looks godly. Use that, and they didn't. And this is where my theory is gonna come into play with Fantastic Four coming out. Fantastic Four are the ones who go to Egypt and basically knock his ass back into his own timeline, so to speak. So is that what's gonna go down in their movie? Is that how we get intro and get more backstory on Ramtut? Because it could also lead to mutants because of apocalypse and whatnot. But you go there, you give him the boot, you take care of Ramtut, that version of Kang. That's one of your main three heads of the council knocked off. Of course, you have Immortus and the super cybernetic one. And then once you defeat those, that's when you get to Kang the Conqueror, the Kang, the problem, the real situation that we only got a taste of. And then the second one, which is also very important, only in America looking, Victor Timely. Interested to see how it gets adjusted. Loki looked absolutely terrified. Overall, this movie's cool. The quantum realm, parts of it looked beautiful. Parts of it did not. Like I said, it felt very toony at times. I think this movie, what was missing was some serious stakes or consequences. A bit more of a serious demeanor outside of just the moments of Kang. Because it's a rebellion. This is a world that is suffering. Those are just some of the moments that really stuck out to me. Bill Murray. Sorry, I know people love him. I get it. His scene was dumb. The little stupid drink was stupid. So not even talking about that. It has important moments, and the Council of Kangs in itself is without question the most important. Victor Timely is also extremely important, but neither one of those are in the damn movie. Comments, questions, concerns, I love hearing from you. Did I miss anything that is super valuable or super vital that you think or I should have mentioned? Let me know in the comment section. I love hearing from you. But until next time, stay safe, be well, con mucho amor, adios.